Title: Unseen in the Mile High City. In Denver, Colorado, the sun rises over the Rocky Mountains with a kind of quiet confidence. The light spills across glass towers, historic brick buildings, and wide streets that promise opportunity, freedom, and growth. To many, Denver is a city of fresh air and fresh starts, a place where people come to reinvent themselves, to work hard, to build something new. But as the city wakes up, there are people who never really slept. They lie under bridges, in doorways, behind dumpsters, in tents pitched along bike paths and riverbanks. While commuters brew coffee and check the weather, thousands of people in Denver wake up wondering where they will find warmth, food, or safety today. Homelessness in Denver is not hidden. It exists in plain sight, and yet it is often unseen. This is the story of homelessness in Denver, not as a statistic, not as a problem to be ignored or feared, but as a human reality unfolding every single day. Denver has grown fast. Over the last 2 decades, people have flooded into the city chasing jobs, lifestyle, and possibility. With that growth came rising rent, rising home prices, and rising inequality. For many, Denver became more expensive than they ever imagined. For others, it became impossible to stay. Homelessness here is not caused by one single thing. It is the result of a system where wages did not keep up with housing, where mental health care fell through the cracks, where addiction met trauma, and where one bad moment could spiral into a permanent crisis: a job loss, a medical bill, a rent increase, a divorce, a relapse, a childhood shaped by violence. For people living on the street, homelessness is rarely a choice. It is a collision of circumstances. Walk through downtown Denver early in the morning, and you will see people packing up their lives into shopping carts. Blankets rolled tight, shoes tied together and thrown over a shoulder. Everything they own reduced to what they can carry. Some have been homeless for years. Others arrived just weeks ago. A man who once worked construction sleeps near a light rail station. His knees gave out, and so did his job. Without savings, he fell behind on rent. Shelters were full. Friends couldn't help for long. The street became permanent. A woman who fled domestic violence sleeps in her car when she can, in a tent when she can't. She avoids shelters, afraid of being found, afraid of being hurt again. A young man in his 20s struggles with untreated bipolar disorder. When his symptoms escalated, his family didn't know how to help. He stopped taking medication. He lost stability. He lost housing. These stories repeat themselves across Denver again and again, with different faces but the same ending. The shelters offer some relief, but not enough. Denver has emergency shelters, transitional housing, and supportive programs, but demand far outweighs availability. Every night people line up hoping for a bed. Some are turned away. Others avoid shelters altogether due to overcrowding, theft, violence, or trauma from past experiences. When shelters are full or unsafe, people turn to tents. Tent encampments have become a visible symbol of Denver's homelessness crisis. Along Cherry Creek, near Colfax Avenue, under overpasses, on patches of land nobody claimed until people had nowhere else to go. Encampments offer community, a sense of protection and stability compared to sleeping alone. But they also come with dangers: fires, exposure, crime, health risks, and constant uncertainty. Because at any moment an encampment can be cleared, sweeps happen with little notice. People are told to move, to take what they can, to leave behind what they can't carry. Medications get lost. Important documents disappear. Photos of loved ones end up in the trash. And when the encampment is gone, the people don't disappear. They simply move. Public frustration grows. Business owners complain. Residents feel unsafe. Politicians promise action. The city debates solutions while people continue sleeping outside. One of the hardest truths about homelessness in Denver is how deeply it is tied to mental health and addiction. Many people on the streets live with untreated mental illness: depression, schizophrenia, PTSD, bipolar disorder. Conditions that make it difficult to hold a job, keep appointments, or navigate complex systems. When mental health care is expensive, inaccessible, or stigmatized, people fall through the cracks. Addiction often follows trauma. It is not the beginning of homelessness, but a response to it. Drugs and alcohol become a way to survive cold nights, hunger, and emotional pain. But addiction makes it harder to access housing, employment, and support, creating a cycle that feels impossible to escape. Denver has programs designed to help. Outreach teams walk the streets offering services. Nonprofits provide meals, showers, job training, and case management. Healthcare workers treat people without judgment. Volunteers hand out socks, blankets, and food. These efforts matter. They save lives, but they are not enough. Housing is the missing piece. Denver, like many American cities, faces a severe shortage of affordable housing. When rent consumes most of a person's income, one setback can lead to eviction. For those already homeless, finding housing without steady income, good credit, or rental history becomes nearly impossible. Housing First models placing people into stable housing before addressing addiction or mental health have shown success. When people have a door that locks, a bed, and an address, recovery becomes possible. But these programs require funding, political will, and time. Meanwhile, winter arrives. Denver winters are unforgiving. Temperatures drop below freezing. Snow blankets the streets. Frostbite becomes a real threat. Every year people die from exposure. Cold weather shelters open, but not always enough. People huddle together for warmth. Some don't wake up. These deaths rarely make headlines. They are counted quietly, added to annual reports, then forgotten. The hardest part of homelessness is not always hunger or cold. It is invisibility. People walk past without eye contact. Conversations stop when someone approaches. Fear replaces empathy. Homeless individuals are seen as problems instead of people, but homelessness is not an identity. It is a condition. The people on Denver streets are veterans, parents, artists, workers, dreamers. Many had ordinary lives before everything collapsed, and many still hope for something better. Hope is fragile out here. Every rejection weakens it. Every night outside tests it. Every reminder that society has moved on without you threatens to extinguish it. Yet hope survives. It survives in the man who shows up to a day labor site every morning, in the woman who attends counseling while living in a tent, in the outreach worker who refuses to give up on someone no one else believes in the volunteer who learns every name. Homelessness in Denver is not unsolvable, but it requires honesty. It requires acknowledging that criminalizing homelessness does not end it, that moving people along does not house them, that compassion without policy is not enough, and that policy without compassion will fail. It requires investment in housing, in mental health care, in addiction treatment, in prevention. Most of all, it requires seeing people not as burdens but as neighbors. Because the measure of a city is not its skyline, it is how it treats its most vulnerable. As the sun sets over Denver, the city glows gold against the mountains. Restaurants fill. Music spills onto the streets. Life goes on. And somewhere nearby, someone pulls a blanket tighter, listening to the sounds of a city that never truly sees them. Until that changes, homelessness in Denver will remain not just a crisis of housing, but a crisis of humanity.